Thank you for tuning in to Entertain the Geeky, your source for nerd news.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Jason back at you with more nerd news. So Joe is here to join me today because 2 days ago, Thursday?
Has it only been 2 days?
2 days ago, we witnessed on preview night Black Panther.
Yeah.
The new Marvel Studios.
In the not normal theater, and that was awkward.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we go to the preview nights almost every time there's a superhero movie, and they always end up playing them in the same theater.
Yeah, it's usually in Theater 9, and this time it was Theater 11.
Yeah, 11.
It was the other direction. It was weird.
Yeah,
it was weird for me.
Threw me all off.
Yeah. But anyways,
Doesn't matter.
We saw Black Panther.
So we're gonna review Black Panther, and I'm gonna go ahead and say this right now. There will be spoilers. We are gonna get into some things that happened within the movie. So if you have not seen the movie, stop listening to us. Go see the movie,
and then come back and
then come back because we're gonna talk about some stuff that we noticed and some cool things that the movie brings to the table. But I gotta say right off the bat, it's great. I mean, it may be the best movie they've ever made.
I don't know if I'll go that far, but it is pretty good.
I'm going to go that far because for me,
that's fine.
It was Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier was the best movie they'd made, in my opinion.
Yes.
Up until this point.
Well, see, I still think Winter Soldier is better.
I think Winter Soldier is great, right? Because not only did it take the tired, stale kind of superhero genre trope and try to apply that to a different genre of movies,
right?
A different genre of storytelling, i.e. the spy thriller, Jason Bourne type of movie with Captain America in it. But if you take Captain America out of the movie entirely and just put random John Smith #1 in his place, it's still the same great movie, regardless of the superhero element.
Easily.
And I think Black Panther is the same way. I think Black Panther is just a fantastic story that doesn't need the superhero element, but it has it because it's a Marvel movie.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely just like a spiritual hero's journey kind of story that you could literally replace these characters and even like the entire setting of Wakanda with anywhere else.
Yeah.
It'd be Planet X somewhere with, green four-armed people that we've never heard of. It'd still be a good film.
Yeah.
I'll agree to that.
So, I mean, right off the bat, I mean, it comes in similar to how Spider-Man Homecoming does right after Civil War, right after the events of Civil War.
Yeah, very quickly, they show you the news footage from Zemo getting caught and said it was like a week ago. So it's literally like, probably like, honestly, I want to say that end scene of like Bucky getting dropped off from Civil War probably happened like 2 days prior to this, at most.
Well, and it comes down to, I think, this interesting thing that we're seeing in Phase 3 here, where almost all of the movies are taking place in between these two big events. So Captain America: Civil War is big event #1, and then Avengers: Infinity War will be big event #2.
Yeah,
right. Because even though Avengers: Infinity War is the next movie that we're going to see, Ant-Man and the Wasp that follows it, and Captain Marvel that follows Ant-Man and the Wasp are both going to be set before the events of Avengers: Infinity War.
Yeah,
Ant-Man and the Wasp maybe months before. Yeah, and Captain Marvel decades before. I mean,
Captain isn't that supposed to take place in the 90s?
It's going to be in the 90s.
Yeah.
So,
which is weird for me to say that that's decades ago at this point, but like I'm almost 30.
Yeah, it is. It is decades ago.
It is. I still think of it like yesterday.
I know. So it's kind of an interesting thing they're doing with Phase 3 where, even though Avengers Infinity War, kind of the bookend here, is going to be presented to us in just a few short months, every movie that comes after it before Avengers 4 is going to be set previously. All the movies that have come up to this point are set in between those two. Those two seem to be the two defining events for this timeline. It's Civil War and the invasion of Thanos.
Yeah, for sure. Like, Infinity War is definitely meant to be the big follow-up for Civil War timeline-wise. So, like, all these events have happened pretty quickly to each other, which, I mean, makes me wonder exactly how far after Civil War Infinity War is taking place. But I'm sure we'll find out when that starts.
Right, yeah, I get the kind of the other bookend we haven't seen. Yeah, absolutely.
But anyways, Black Panther, it's great.
I mean, it really is. And honestly, one of the things I really, really enjoy about it is something that we have not seen in a Marvel movie in, maybe ever. Since maybe because even Guardians of the Galaxy is setting up the larger universe. This movie does very little to set up the larger universe. It
Yeah.
really just focuses on setting up its universe.
Yeah, no, if it wasn't for the fact that it involves a previously seen hero in like one of the other MCU movies.
Yeah, I mean,
aka,
just the
like,
post-credit scene.
Yeah, like
It's Bucky. I mean, we're talking about it. We're going to go ahead. It's Bucky.
No, like,
we get to see
if
Bucky
it didn't
in a
involve
post-credit
like
scene.
that and the fact that we have seen T'Challa and been introduced to Wakanda a little bit, like this movie could have happened on its own completely.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it is, for the most part, utterly detached from the rest of the MCU.
And that's not to say that it's, not still serving the larger MCU narrative, but it doesn't waste its story time trying to do that. It just allows its own story beats to imply that the larger world will be affected by this.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is fantastic because, again, we may not... I'm trying to think of one, and I don't think there's been any movies that have not at least spent some part of their plot setting something up for the future. I mean, think back, because I cannot remember the last time one of their movies did not do something to set up a future film that literally spends time of its own plot trying to do so.
Hulk?
Incredible Hulk sets up the larger narrative by introducing us to S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, that's fair.
And yes, Iron Man introduced us to Coulson, but Incredible Hulk introduced us to S.H.I.E.L.D. tech and the S.H.I.E.L.D. government computer system that can monitor Bruce Banner, Mr. Green, and Mr. Blue. So, everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
Not to mention, Ross talking to Blonsky about the Super Soldier program.
Yeah.
Long before we had Captain America. Years before.
Yeah, I don't know that any of them didn't set up
Someone
something. I mean,
said to me-
especially because, like, all of Phase 2 since was freaking set up anyways.
Right.
Like,
Someone said to me, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and I was thinking about it, and I was hard-pressed to find something that builds the larger narrative outside of the Guardians narrative.
Right.
But the only thing I can think of is, and it might not even be an immediate thing that people would pick up on and notice, but they introduce us to the concept of Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
And Adam Warlock is a huge part of the cosmic Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right. No, that's why I would
just
count
the Guardians universe.
That's why I wouldn't count that one as not setting up, is because they did introduce us to the concept of Adam Warlock as a future entity.
Right.
For the thing. So like that was enough for me. Like that's in the same ballpark as even like Iron Man having just Nick Fury at the end.
Right.
Like just introducing the Avengers concept in the first place.
Right.
So
yeah, I really do think that Black Panther. This is the first time ever that we've had a movie that is just completely standalone, that doesn't try to set anything else up.
No, I want to go back through the movie, like watch it again and make sure. But thinking about it right now, I can't think of anything in it that like set up something in the future.
Yeah, and again, like I said, one little post-credit scene, but it doesn't waste time within its narrative trying to set things up, and that's what I'm talking about, right? Because you can say every post-credit scene almost all the time is setting up something for the future,
right?
And that's what they use those scenes for,
right?
But within the narratives of the other films, within their own narratives, in their runtime before the credits roll, they all spend time setting up something else.
Right, and I can't think of a moment this one did. It was very on the point to its own story.
And I mean, everything's presented so beautifully with the vistas of Wakandan's capital, the palaces. When you go outside of the palace to like the riverlands and the mountains, I mean, all the characters that you can think of that represent those tribes are there.
The mountains where the Jabari hang out,
and M'Baku,
fucking beautiful, beautiful up there.
M'Baku is in the comics the white ape, or I think they call him the white ape.
I believe so. Yeah. Honestly, I've
never read
a
ape or the great ape,
something along those lines,
like that.
But it's based on the concept of their tribe following a great white ape.
Yeah, a gorilla god, basically.
Yeah, and like.
I guess
I'm mildly sad that
he doesn't get to put on a costume.
Yeah, like in the comics, he super had a white ape costume, and they super didn't do that. And I'm sure somebody was worried about that being like not
racially insensitive.
Yeah, not politically correct. Really,
I mean, politically correct. I think the racial sensitivity issue, right? We're doing a movie that embraces the idea of African American culture as a part of our world,
right?
And then we show one of them pop up in a white guy costume.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people probably would have been upset about that.
Yeah.
What they did do with just their daily dress of having them have those big bracers though.
Yeah,
to make them look like they have gorilla arms,
well,
like
he
as
puts
an
on
like that,
a warrior's mask.
and that warrior mask
yeah, that
from,
has the face of the ape.
Was Challenge Day.
Yeah,
Challenge Day.
Challenge Day is one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie.
Oh, it's one of the best scenes in the whole movie. It really is.
And yeah, I mean, so you get Challenge Day is just the moment when T'Challa is crowned king. The powers of the Panther are taken away from him, and the rest of the tribes of Wakanda get a chance to challenge for the right to be the king.
They can choose whether to challenge him for the right or not.
Yeah.
They take his powers away, so that way it's a fair fight.
Right, and of course the Jabani are the only ones in the first time we see this who challenge. And M'Baku is the one who represents them.
And God, they picked a monster of a man to play him too.
The fighting, the choreography.
The choreography was great because
was fantastic.
He really moved like an ape.
Yeah,
and as we saw even in Civil War, like T'Challa is really good at being very, very, very feline in his movements. Whoever orchestrated, I just forgot the actor's name.
Who? T'Challa?
Yeah,
Chadwick Boseman.
Thank you. I didn't have enough sleep. No, whoever orchestrates his fight choreography needs like an Academy Award for getting it so spot on.
Well, and there's and it seems like when you look at M'Baku fight, even when you look at some of the Riverlands tribes who fight with their animal is the rhino, the blue rhino typically, and when you look at how they fight, it almost seems like they've taken martial arts from those animal styles and integrated them into kind of a bare knuckle brawl type of fighting system like a boxer would use. And it all works so well.
Very well.
It's so fluid.
It's got it felt a lot like Muay Thai, like kickboxing to me, honestly.
Especially the scenes in the water during the challenge ceremony, where they're fighting in the little pond there above the waterfalls. Yeah, just beautiful. I mean, the choreography is great. And honestly, the thing that really blows me away about the movie is just some of the side characters, right? Because yes, this does more for the representation of African Americans in film than I think any other movie has, and on top of that, also does so much for the representation of women. I mean, Wonder Woman changed the game, and Marvel realized very quickly that they had to switch up how they were telling
use
stories.
Of the what are they called?
The Dora Milaje.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I can never pronounce it.
Yeah.
Their use of the Dora Milaje, and then even like his sister.
Shuri,
and mother, like they're all really strong, independent characters who are immediately attention grabbing and very interesting.
And
characters.
I'd be honest with myself, and think I feel like the women in the film had more screen time than the men in the film.
Oh, easily,
because the Dora Milaje are a huge part of not only the early plot where they're the royal guard of T'Challa, but then the later plot where they have to somewhat betray T'Challa and become the royal guard of Killmonger when he takes the throne.
Well, I mean, they're center stage like the whole time, and there's like that good 15-20 minutes of the movie where like T'Challa's dead. Yeah,
and the stories about his mother and his sister and
trying to deal with Killmonger.
Trying to find the Jabani tribe and tell them that they need help. No, like. They are super important characters, and I can't wait to see more from Shuri. Yeah. Shuri is fantastic. She's my new favorite character.
Yeah. No, she's fantastic.
Tech genius.
No, she's Q from James Bond.
Yeah,
but
she is Q
funnier,
from James Bond. She is.
And more limber, I guess, because that man was old.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, Shuri as a character has been the Black Panther. She was the Black Panther when T'Challa was exiled from Wakanda.
Yeah.
She was the White Tiger eventually with those gauntlets, which we do see in the film. She does bust out the gauntlets, the White Tiger gauntlets.
Those were so sick too.
And start going to town on some dudes during one of the film's climactic battle scene. Really, I mean that is the climax of the film.
Yeah. That big fight.
And honestly, if you're unfamiliar with any of these elements, I mean the Dora Milaje are the personal guard to the Black Panther. They kind of have, I mean, because the Black Panther line has typically been the kings and queens of Wakanda. you could say they're the personal guard of the king,
right?
But they really are the personal guard of the Black Panther,
right?
That's why they accompany T'Challa almost everywhere he goes.
I feel like the movie did a good job. Maybe a little late, but a good job, in my opinion, of making that distinction with the general after Killmonger takes over.
Right.
Because,
they're clearly going with these are loyal to the throne.
Yeah, they make
Panther.
that distinction of like, I follow the throne.
Yeah.
Not who I like; it's whoever sits on it.
Right. And honestly,
and that's a very important distinction.
Yeah, it leads to, I think, one of my favorite scenes during the climactic battle where the leader of the River Tribe, who they follow Killmonger. They kind of betray T'Challa as well, thinking that T'Challa is weak and not the proper leader of Wakanda.
Well, I mean, they're a tribe of warriors, and a new warrior took over.
It's true.
I'm not largely surprised by that move at all.
It's true. Yeah, and at one point he's charging his rhino at I don't even remember who it was.
It was Umbata.
Oh, M'Baku, the leader of the Vibani tribe. Yes. So they are, he's charging his rhino.
Sorry for murdering all these names, by the way.
You're fine.
I'm real bad at this.
He's charging his rhino. I mean, dead on at M'Baku, and the general of the Dora Milaje gets in the way. And because the rhino cares for her, because the rhino knows her,
stops and licks her.
Yeah. And that was a very powerful scene to kind of display the loyalty that the Dora Milaje have to Wakanda and to the throne and things like this, because the general and the leader of the River Tribe are lovers.
Honestly, I'd completely forgotten that subplot up until his line of "You would even kill me, like
my love."
Yeah, because they introduced that very early into the movie. Yeah. It's like,
and he's just a throwaway
10
line.
minutes.
He says, "My king and my love." He just uses those words.
It's a cute little moment between them that was it felt like throwaway, so I didn't bother remembering.
Well, you forget about it too because she's so amazing at being a warrior that your mind goes in that direction.
Yeah, you completely forgot that she had any sort of love interest up until that moment.
Right.
And the fun part about it is you're A, reminded, and then B, immediately recognize that she could and would murder the shit out of him in this moment.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that he would have gotten his ass handed to him in no seconds flat.
Oh yeah, and not only that, but it provides a great moment between the two of them where he says, "You would even strike me down, my love," and she says, "For Wakanda, without hesitation."
Yeah,
and it's one of those moments where you see these women, regardless of their personal feelings about an issue that the country is having, they are loyal to the throne of Wakanda, and they will do whatever it takes to protect it.
Absolutely.
And the kind of loyalty that they brought to them in this film, it's just such a striking parallel to the comic world.
Right.
That is the Dora Milaje in the comic world. They are the best, the baddest, the most loyal warriors that Wakanda has to offer. And it's fantastic. And they get a big, big center stage kind of moment throughout the film, but definitely in that climax where they are the ones defending T'Challa against chaos that's raining down.
Yeah, and there's 8 of them against the army.
The river,
and they're doing just fine.
Yep, and they're holding their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Though I think here we need to spend a little time talking about Eric Killmonger.
Michael B. Jordan is fantastic.
Oh, he was such a good pick.
Yeah.
Whoever A, picked him, B, made his costumes, all of it.
All of these different people. Give them awards now.
Yeah, no. and he needs an award for that performance.
Yeah.
Because he is a terrifying villain, but
also a relatable one.
Oh, man. It is such an empathetic story, and that's why I wanted to talk about him for sure a little, because, he's one of those classic, a hero accidentally made a villain trying to be a hero moments.
Right.
Because he was just...
he sees the oppression in the world that his people have had to suffer and knows Wakanda has the technology and the know-how to end this oppression, to wipe it out.
And he was just a half Wakandan little abandoned kid from Oakland on top of that.
Yeah.
And like knowing enough about his culture, he knew like the only way to get what he wanted to bring Wakanda to the world to take over. Like, sure, he wanted to dominate to save the world, which you know is questionable, but like he knew what he had to do for it was win the throne, and he was going to have to challenge. So he spent his entire life becoming the ultimate fighter.
Yeah, I
basically.
mean, we saw that line a lot in the trailer.
Yeah.
But when you understand the line underneath the weight of what this character represents, when he says, "I've waited my whole life for this."
Yeah, no, he's
when you watch that in the trailer,
trained.
you don't know what that means until you understand the story.
And one of the things I'm really glad about, like the whole like going to the spirit world when you take back the mantle of the Panther thing with T'Challa was a really moving moment, and I'm really glad that we got a moment like that too from Killmonger's perspective.
And his moment was completely different.
It was.
I mean, T'Challa's moment was very spiritual.
Yeah.
It was very kind of natural world.
Right.
Killmonger, he's in his apartment.
Yeah.
He's in his father's apartment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And having one last moment with his dad.
Yeah.
And like, it's heartbreaking.
It really
and you
is.
really feel for him as a character.
When you can't blame his opinion of the world. I mean, when you look at they're trying to set this in a real world.
Yeah.
African American culture has been oppressed since the beginning of time. You know what I mean?
Largely, yeah.
I mean, when we started expanding our empires and moving out, we thought, oh, here, look, a whole bunch of people that we can subjugate. Like, there's been oppression for them since the beginning of time. So you can't.
I mean, even
you can't
before
help
we
but
got there,
sympathize with the kind of action that Killmonger wants to take.
I mean, even before colonialism happened, like tribe would oppress tribe constantly, and I mean that's just true worldwide.
Yeah,
so I mean, but yes, it's been real hard on them, and I mean, he grew up in Oakland, and let's be real about what Oakland is,
right? And when you look at its time frame, it was Oakland in the late 70s, early 80s.
No, it was later than that.
I thought it was supposed to be the 80s.
No, it was.
We had young, really, really young T'Chaka then. It had to at least be the 80s.
It was 92.
How does he go from that person to the old guy who played him in Civil War in under 20 years?
I'm not disagreeing with that.
That doesn't make sense.
And I'm just saying that when it opens up in Oakland,
I feel like it was the 80s.
I guarantee you it said Oakland 1992.
All right. I mean, to be fair, 1992 is a long time ago.
Yeah.
Not denying that that's the reality that we live in this day and age.
No, we live in the day and age where that was nearly 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're also talking about a dude who was like a king with some issues.
Okay, but
so like that'll age you quick.
I don't think it ages you that quick.
I mean,
I think we would still have him looking a little closer to his younger self.
If you want to go into continuity about it, we could always talk about what does that Panther mixture fucking do to you physically over years and years of having it.
I mean, I get that, right? I do. I understand that maybe it takes its toll.
Right.
And in the comics, I feel like there's probably been reference to it taking a toll.
I'm sure.
I haven't read
I'd honestly be
Panther
real surprised if that hasn't come up ever.
Sure. I want to take a little moment right here at the end too, and this seems like such a goofy thing to talk about. And I was having this conversation with my wife the other night because she hasn't seen the movie, but I was kind of telling her like in my impressions of the film,
right?
And I was like, it's kind of a shame in a movie that really, really takes such huge steps forward for, like I said, African American culture, women as heroes,
right?
To talk about the white people, but Everett Ross and Ulysses Klaue are great characters.
They're fantastic. But
Andy Serkis expands on the kind of comedy and just badass nature of Klaue.
No, I didn't expect Klaue was all right when we got introduced to him in Ultron.
Yeah,
he served his purpose.
He's funny.
He was a throwaway character basically. But in this, Andy Serkis really made him shine, and he's super memorable.
He really is.
And very entertaining, and he's one of those villains that you can look at and he's a piece of shit, but you want him to stick around because he's good for a laugh.
Right, he's funny. Yeah, he makes you laugh.
He's very entertaining.
The moment that makes them right away. I mean, you just get this thing where they break into the museum to steal back this Wakandan artifact, and they kill everybody but one guy, and he whispers, "You can go. It's okay.
It's okay."
And the guy
just don't tell anyone.
Away, and then he just shoots him in the back.
Yes,
that was hilarious.
No,
just
great.
Really, really funny.
Or when he runs into Ross in the nightclub. And Ross makes a joke about a mixtape because he brought an entourage.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, we actually have one. You want a copy?
Yeah.
And just starts going on this fucking rant.
Well, and you know that everything he's saying is just complete crap.
Right.
He's just
But
big
Ross is
con
just
artist.
like, please don't make me listen to your music.
Right. But he makes these jokes and he's funny. And then Ross has Ross in the comics was the liaison between the United Nations and Wakanda. And even though we introduced Ross in Civil War, it seems like that's what they're leading Ross to be within this story.
Yeah.
As we go forward from here, because the first post-credit scene shows us the Wakandans introducing to the world the idea that they're going to share their technology,
Right.
and that they're going to reach out to the world and try to change
Right.
things the right way. Ross already at that point knows what Wakanda is. He spent most of the movie there. He's understood that they are the most advanced society in the world.
Right.
So it seems like he's probably going to be put in that position where he's going to be the go-between between the United Nations, the CIA, which he obviously still works for, and Wakanda and T'Challa. And I think that's great because Martin Freeman is also very fantastic. And again, it's a shame to talk about the white people. But
let's be real.
Everett Ross is great. He's a great character.
No,
and Martin Freeman plays him perfectly.
They treated him real well.
Yeah, and it's and there's funny moments, right? They kind of make fun of the reverse racism thing that they have going on here, where the predominant cast is black and there's a few white people.
Yeah,
because there's a moment where they're trying to hide Everett Ross and they're going to sneak through Wakanda, and it's just like how right? Somebody, I think Shuri says something about like. Yeah, the fact that he's a white guy. Right?
Yeah,
it's like
how are we going to get the white boy into Wakanda?
Yes.
Yeah,
because he's actually stands out like a sore thumb there.
Right, exactly.
So it is kind of funny that we can turn it around a little bit and have a laugh from a different perspective.
Yeah, no,
and we take for granted, people like us, we're white dudes. We take for granted the fact that superheroes look like us, right? But why the comics have done for years shown us that diversity is the key, right? If the world is threatened, the world has to unite. Right. And that means everybody. Heroes from every place and every country and every nationality. And it's about time the movies realize that that's the better way to tell these stories, to make it an all-inclusive thing. And that goes into the whole comic thing of like everybody's a hero. Yeah. You don't have to have superpowers to be a hero.
No, not at all.
Right? So I just have to say, this movie, the reason I think that this movie is the best movie that they've done, to bring it all to a close here, the reason I think this is the best movie they've ever done is not because it's any better or worse plot-wise than any other movie they've done, especially Winter Soldier and Spider-Man Homecoming and Guardians 2, some of my favorite movies of this phase.
Right.
It's because of the huge step forward it takes for film and this universe as a whole.
That's fair.
It changes the game, and I feel like Wakanda is obviously a central location within the Avengers Infinity War narrative. We've seen trailers that show us that.
Right.
But will be a huge building block for Phase 4.
Oh,
when we start integrating other things within this universe, I think Wakanda is going to become the New York now of this world.
Oh, if everything goes right with their plans of going forward, with sharing their technology and resources with the world, absolutely, this is the new cultural hub of the entire world.
Yes, and 100%. I think that is fantastic because not only does
the only way that doesn't happen is if Thanos completely annihilates it.
Oh yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. They're probably going to win the day. I think. Right, it's going to take a hardship and probably some tragic deaths of some characters. But they're going to win the day.
Spider-Man here's looking at you.
Nah, Captain America here's looking at you.
Yeah,
Captain America's the one who will die, and Bucky will become the new Captain America.
Part of me really wants that to happen because I really want Bucky to be Cap, but part of me really doesn't want that to happen because I really like Chris Evans as Cap.
Sure. Chris Evans does a great job portraying Captain America. There's no doubt about that.
No, he's so good. If he ran for president as Captain America, I would vote for him.
They did that in the Ultimate Universe.
I know.
The Ultimate Universe had President Cap storyline.
And I need Chris Evans playing Steve Rogers to run for president. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure the whole country would vote for him, and it would be a great 4 years.
It would.
Let's be real. Great 8 years?
Probably. Yeah, probably. No, it would. So In conclusion, I guess both myself and Joe probably would agree. You know, you got to see this movie, and you got to see it on the big screen because it's just it's a spectacle.
It is
from start to finish.
Yeah.
It really does a great job.
You're doing yourself a disservice if you don't go see this in theaters.
Yeah. So, thanks for sitting in and listening to our review. Go check out the movie because whether you're like me and you think it's the best thing they've ever done, or whether you're like Joe and you just think it's right up there in the top 3. It's worth a look. So thanks for sitting in again. If you dig what we're putting down, do me a favor. Go on over to entertainthegeeky.com. Check out the blog post. We'll have later this week, I'll have a spoiler-free written review up on the blog. And we're constantly trying to keep you up to date with all the video game news, the movie news, the comic news, and the television news. So check it out. We've got all kinds of stuff there. You can find both the podcasts there. Like us on Facebook. We've got all the stuff shared there as well, if that's how you prefer to find your nerd information, at facebook.com/entertainmentgeeky. And if you're a tweeter as well.
A Twitter?
a tweeter. Find us on Twitter, at entertaingeeky. Again, thanks for listening. Until next time, stay geeky.